typical letting go story. In fact, it's not even my letting go story, but I am involved. You see, I became a mother for the first time when I was 42 years old. Okay. Now, before you go giving me the pats on the backs and the atta girls, I did not birth either of my children. So this is a letting go story about adoption. My husband and I got married when I was 35 years old. First time for both of us, neither of us had children, but we needed to have that conversation pretty early about whether we were going to have kids, because even at 35, this body might not have been prepared for that. So we decided that, we would focus on our careers. Dinks. Dual income, no kids. We were satisfied with that. So we lived our life until a little boy came into our lives, my nephew. My youngest brother and his girlfriend at the time had a baby. And if you really knew me, you would know that I am a natural nurturer. And we began to nurture that little boy. But that was not enough. So call it the 7-year itch or whatever you want to, but then our 7th year of marriage, we had another conversation. And we decided that we wanted to be parents. Okay, 42, remember? I'm not birthing a baby. So we began to have that conversation about how. And we started talking to an adoption agency. The adoption agency has a process that they call birth mother matches. And we would provide a portfolio of our lives, and the birth mother would provide information about herself that she wanted to share with us, and we would determine if it was a match. I don't know if it was the times or what, but this was back in 2000. And back in 2000, there were not very many African American 2-parent families that were ready to adopt. And so we were matched with a birth mother pretty quickly. All we had to do was wait. So we did. We prepared the nursery. We bought the clothes. We got ready. And we waited for the call for the baby to be born. And back then, the birth mother had to have at least 24 hours after the baby was born before they could sign adoption papers. So we would wait for the day the baby was born, and we would finally got the call. This first birth mother was in Atlanta. We were excited. We were even going to get to fly to Atlanta to pick up the baby. So the baby was born. We were excited. We were ready to get the tickets. And so the next day, when the 24 hours was up, we were waiting for the call. And the call came, and we were informed she couldn't let go. Yes, it was devastating, but God did not want me to have that child. That was not my child. That was her child. So we started all over again. We had another birth mother match very quickly. This time the birth mother was in Las Vegas. Oh, okay, we can go to Las Vegas too. We waited on the call, and the call came. But she couldn't let go. Okay, now we're on this roller coaster of emotions. And we said, we can still do this though. We began to work with the agency again, and again, very quickly, we were matched with another birth mother. This time in Texas. We can fly to Texas. Planes go there too. But she couldn't let go. So 3 times we're beginning to question, is this the right process for us? 3 days later, we received a call from the agency in Texas that had just been devastated for us. They had a young lady walk into the hospital the night before. She had a baby girl. She had already decided that she wanted to do an adoption. And if we could fly to Texas, the baby was ours. So we did. We flew to Texas. We arrived late at night, and the first thing we saw when we pulled up to the adoption agency was a lady standing there waiting on us with the most beautiful little baby girl in her arms. And we fell instantly in love because this birth mother could let go. So our lives began as parents, but it didn't end there. 4 years later, we decided to do this process again. We said our daughter needs a sibling. So we started the process all over again. And this time, when we prepared our portfolio was picked up by a birth mother very, very quickly, and she wanted to meet with us. And so we did. She told us her story. She says, I'm 24 years old, and I have 4 children. She said, all 4 of my children are by the same man. Both of us, though, do not have a high school diploma. Neither of us has a GED. We have struggled through life. We've been homeless. We've been hungry. We're currently on welfare. We know we can't bring another child into this family. In fact, we knew it so much so that after I had my 4th child, I had my tubes tied. So you can imagine the surprise when I thought I had the flu and the doctor confirmed for me that I was 6 months pregnant. In fact, when we met her, she didn't look pregnant. She hid her pregnancy from not only her friends, but she hid that pregnancy from her family because she knew she was going to give this child up for adoption. So we did match with her, and we began the wait because we're at 6 months. We have more time to wait. We didn't want to get our hopes up too much because we did not know what to expect because we'd had 3 that couldn't let go. On the day of the delivery, we received the call. We could come to the hospital because she wanted us there. We went to the hospital. She actually lived in Indiana. We went to the hospital. And we were greeted with the birth mother who had already delivered her baby. And she was in the room with the child. Now, when you are a birth mother and you are giving your child up for adoption, they have a designation for them. They're called BUFA, baby up for adoption. And they generally don't bring them to the room of the birth mother because they don't want them to bond. And so when I arrived and see her with the baby, I'm concerned. We met this baby. We fell in love instantly with this child the same way we did for the first one. But at the end of the evening, we were asked to leave because the 24 hours has not passed. It was time for me to let go. I could not get attached until I knew. We arrived back at the hospital the next morning, and the birth mother was getting dressed to leave, and the baby's there in the room with her. We don't know if she's getting ready to take this child with her or not. But she motions for us to come into the room, and these are the words she said to me. She hands me this baby and she says, "This child will never be hungry. This child will never be homeless. This child will never be on welfare. So I give this child to you out of love." What a letting go story. When I think about letting go, I think about this birth mother and all other birth mothers who have to let go for love. So this is a letting go story of love. Thank you.